Does he not? Does he know how people work and emotions work?
Yeah.
Evidently not. What's wrong with him? Mate, he's just a coward. Like, if he wants to call things off with Arabella, tell her to her face.
And I just feel like it's always me. Like I always am the one that gets.
I don't get why everyone has decided to paint Toby as the villain. Toby did not choose to couple up with Georgia S out of the blue. He had conversations with Georgia S and she led him to believe that he had a chance, as far as I'm concerned, and this is why he's chosen to couple up with her. And please, Anton needs to sit down somewhere. How dare he be more upset than Callum? How dare Josh be more upset than Callum? Why is Chris having to defend Toby in the eyes of these guys? This has nothing to do with him. This issue is between Toby, Arabella, Callum, and Georgia S. Everybody else needs to take a seat somewhere. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, and turn on the notification bell when I upload new videos. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island All Stars UK Season 1, Episode 70. It's the double standard for me, the double standard, in the sense that when Chris refused to couple up with Arabella and called her names and was petty and did everything under the sun, nobody said anything. Now it's Toby, everybody's calling him a boy, including Arabella. Why was she making out with a little boy? Why didn't she leave the little boy alone? Now because he's refused to play along, she's now suddenly a little boy. I don't get it. So you have Josh stand up and pick to couple up with Sophie. Am I surprised? No, that was a given. They were going to couple up together because once Joanna coupled up, you know, with somebody else, then that was the only choice left for Josh. And then for Callum to stand up and call Toby a little boy and how he has disrespected Arabella. And it's like, where was all this pressure when Chris did this? Where was all this anger, all this outrage? Everybody was quiet. Suddenly, because Toby has done it, oh my God, how dare he do that? He is a little boy. He is immature. He's disrespectful. He upset this girl. And it's like, you have all been in the villa. Have you all tried to get to know her? No. Suddenly, Toby, when he said his nice speech about her, nobody stood up and clapped for him and said, amazing, you saved her from Chris. What is it about her that turns the guys away from her? Why do you make it seem like she's an angel and all these guys are just hating on her for no apparent reason? I don't get it. You then have, after the recoupling, Arabella is crying. She runs off crying. Molly can call BS. Molly can smell something, because when Georgia S walks in crying, you see Molly's face that she's not buying it and she's really not feeling it and she's not here for that crap. And I think she already knows that Georgia is lying and Georgia has something to do with Toby picking her to recouple with her. I don't get why everybody else is doing this, and for the guys to sit, you know, by the day beds and be bad mouthing Toby, I don't get it. Callum has no right to say all those things about Toby. When Tom and Georgia S were doing whatever they were doing, he didn't say anything. He was quiet. Suddenly it's Toby. Oh, let's show him, you know, smoke. Let's give him smoke. Let's, you know, call him out. Let's call him little boy. I don't get it, and I don't like the disrespect. The way Arabella spoke to him was very disrespectful, regardless of the fact that he hurt her feelings. Because when Chris did that to her, and he called her fake, and he did everything else, she didn't kick off or call him names the way she's done to Toby. She actually went back and apologized to Chris. I'm waiting for Toby's apology. I want to see it and I want to hear it and I want to see what happens next. But I have a bad taste in my mouth because I felt that it wasn't necessary. Toby was wrong for not speaking to her before the recoupling. But Georgia S should have spoken up for Toby if she really liked Toby like that. Georgia S likes the attention. I think she also likes Toby. I think of all the guys that she's been with, she likes Toby more than Tom and Callum, because of the fact that she broke things off with Tom for Toby, and she only went to Callum after Toby turned it down. So yes, those boys might be in their feelings because Toby's always on top when it comes to Georgia S. But Georgia S needs to share, you know, the blame and not just Toby. He didn't choose to recouple with her on a whim. They had a conversation. They agreed on it, this, whether or not Georgia S will acknowledge this, and I don't get why she doesn't. So it's interesting that everybody is calling Toby the villain, and it's like, how are we calling him the villain without sort of asking what has Georgia S done to sort of cause this situation or to encourage the situation? Anyway, obviously she had a cuddle with Callum and told him that oh, I was very surprised. I wasn't expecting this. This has just come out of left field. And it's like, why would you believe her? Last time she played you, and here she goes again. You have Josh sort of sit down with Sophie and sort of say, I've really enjoyed our connection. I'm going to tell Joanna that I'm happy to close things off and just focus on you. And it's like, it's not through your choice that you're coupling up with, Sophie and closing yourself off. It's because Joanna's turned you down. If Joanna had given you the attention that you needed, you would have continued with her. But because she's bruised your little boy ego, now you're making it seem like, you're all good and she is the villain for making you feel some type of way. I don't get it. You have, I like the fact that Chris is looking out for his boy, because it's only Chris and Kaz who are standing by, you know, Toby. Everybody else is thinking Toby's the villain. When they get ready for bed, you have people like Tom sort of saying, oh, why is, Toby, why did he do it? It was very foolish of him. And then someone, I think it was, Casey, or it was Tom himself, who said maybe Georgia S has encouraged, or has said something to Toby that has made him believe that, they can couple up together. And it's like, obviously, Toby's not a fool for him to choose to couple up with her. And for Callum to say that Toby's not smart enough to think, oh, let me couple up with, Georgia S, because Georgia S was safe and she was one of the most liked couples. How do you think what makes you think he's not that smart? What makes you think you're smarter than him when Georgia S just played you? Please sit down somewhere. Georgia S played you when she was going after Tom, and when Tom turned her down, she then was happy to go back to Toby, because Toby has always been her number one. I don't get it. So when the islanders are getting ready for bed, you have, Callum having a conversation with Arabella in bed, and he's sort of saying to her, oh, if they make out in bed or if they cuddle in bed, then I'm going to tell Georgia S I'm done. And it's like, you should have been done the first time you heard about her going on the terrace with Tom, but no, you chose to leave a girl you've known for years to go for someone, you barely know, just because you felt she was the type of girl that you needed. And now you're going to realize that, well, you actually played yourself. You should have stayed with Molly, but you chose not to stay with Molly because you wanted to try something new. And just like clockwork, Georgia S goes in bed with Toby, and then she has this smirk on her face. And then, you know, even Arabella was like, why is she smirking? And it's like, well, what do you think? What do you think? We all knew that she was playing you. She's quite a good actress because she's managed to play a lot of people on that show. But hey, I digress. So in the morning, you have a debrief, and it's interesting to say the least, in the sense that the conversations mainly covered were Toby and Georgia S and Callum in that love triangle. The fact that Sophie and Josh are happy. Sophie's very happy, and I think she's more worried that, she can't show how happy she is because somebody else is in the middle of crying. And for Arabella to say, Toby is the last person she expected to hurt her, and the way she treated her was very bad, and this, that, and that, and it's like, please sit down somewhere. Toby's not the villain in your story. Chris actually did way worse, and yet we've moved on so quickly and we're focused on Toby. I don't empathize with that. Yes, it was wrong, but still, if you're going to have smoke for Toby, then have smoke for Chris as well. Don't sort of taper your anger. She was upset with Chris, don't get me wrong, but it didn't last long, and she didn't call him half the names that she's called Toby. And it's like, what has Toby done to deserve this? Yes, he's broken your heart by, or he's upset you by the fact that he embarrassed you in front of everyone, but still, that's not enough for you to call him names and to call him a little boy. That was unnecessary. You were liking him. Why did you like him if he was a little boy? Why did you make out with him in bed if he was a little boy? Please sit down somewhere. I'm not really buying that. Let's call a spade a spade. Yes, he upset you, he bruised your ego by the fact that he embarrassed you in front of everyone. Say that, and that's it. Callum said, he's not willing to be part of a love triangle, and if Georgia S wants to go back to Toby, that's fine, but he's not buying what she's selling. And it's like, well, you should have stopped buying ages ago, but you decided to continue. So please sit down somewhere. We're not here for this. And then, Toby is saying that he's just going to play it by ear. Even Georgia is, oh, I didn't expect that. And I'm like, Kaz is Toby's best friend. Whatever you're saying, she already knows the truth. So please don't lie to her, because otherwise you're just making a fool of yourself. So we are really not here for that. Keep it moving. This episode should have just been called the Georgia, Callum, and Arabella's show, piling on Toby. And I don't get where Anton is coming from, and I don't get where Josh is coming from. I think other people are just looking to pile on to Toby for no apparent reason. Tom is trying to get the heat off himself because he was also involved in this love triangle, as far as I'm concerned. So you have, the girls receive a message to say that they'll be going out, so they go out and they spend time together. And obviously Arabella is going to moan about Toby. Toby's the last person I expected to hurt me, or I feel some type of way, I feel this, that, and the other. And for Georgia S to sort of say that, she has to reconsider what Toby said just because he stood up at the fire pit and made a speech. And it's like, so what does that mean? Does that mean that he was able to change your mind by the words that came out of his mouth? Is that what you're trying to say? I think Georgia S wanted Toby to take her back, and he took her back. She gave him the green light to push for her. And when he pushed for her, she moved on to him and is now looking for a way to sort of get herself out of the mud with the rest of the islanders, because she knows that everybody else is upset. They are really not here for it, and they're not feeling her because of the way she's acted. And for Callum and the guys to sort of have this heated discussion about Toby, I don't get. They said Toby was immature, and yet he's shown the most maturity amongst all the guys, because he hasn't responded. Even when people that are not involved in this mess, like Anton, have given their opinions, he hasn't said anything. They were talking about him in the bedroom, the guys, oh, Toby was wrong for this, Toby this, Toby that. And it's like, you all know who Georgia is. You've seen how she's moved in the villa. So why suddenly have you all decided to paint Toby as your fall guy, as your bad guy? Make that make sense. I'm not getting that, and I'm not buying that. And so for them to continue to paint Toby as the villain, I don't like it. Took the girls to meet a guy on their outing, but it seems no, that outing was just an outing. I think it's because Arabella was crying and making such a big deal, so they wanted to diffuse the situation by removing her from Toby. And so there was this debrief afterwards, and there was, oh, where's Toby and Chris? What are they doing? Are they not coming down? And it's like, please leave him alone. I think because Toby was so broken, he hasn't responded, he hasn't said anything as a comeback to all the comments that have been made about him. So Chris took him up to the terrace. They had, this facial session, and then they came down for the debrief when the girls came back, and they had a conversation about who or what was actually discussed and what the girls, how they feel. And Arabella has to bring up Toby, and it's like, please don't make Toby, your villain. Toby's not the reason why you're in the situation you're in. She only highlighted Chris just a little bit, but the rest of them is still at Toby. After, in the evening, once they get their drinks, you have, Georgia S have a conversation with Toby about where they stand and what the plan is. And Georgia S wants to go back to Toby. She's looking for a way to ease herself out of the Callum situation. I don't think she ever felt Callum like that. I think she put up with him because that was her only option. And when Tom came in, she tried to switch up, but Tom refused for her to switch up. And then suddenly she found herself being able to go back to Toby. And this is why, even when she sat down with Callum, all her argument was, oh, but Toby stood at the fire pit and he declared himself, he said everything he needed to say, so how can I turn him away? And for Callum to expect her to shut the door down does not make sense. This whole thing doesn't make sense, and I don't get why everyone is making such a big deal about it. In my opinion, Toby felt some type of way. He had a conversation with Georgia as she gave him the green light. He went for her, and suddenly he's the villain. I don't get it. But anyway, I digress. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from the previous episode. Bye, guys.